Mhm. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm starting to get things started here. You can tell me in the chat whether or not things are looking good or not. That would be nice. Um, Obviously, this is a remote broadcast. So, um, and unfortunately, I don't have all of my graphics and everything else um, in terms of what's going on here. So, but definitely let me know. Oh, perfect. You see and hear me. Hello, Whiskey Warriors. Oh, boy. Whew. It has been one heck of a day. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You like whoops, you like my computer? Here you go. Oop. Yeah. So, there you go. Uh, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about the timing and everything. We had to race to get back here. The place that we were at earlier, my partner's house is north of Austin, and so we had to drive there. And then, of course, however long it took us, um, obviously, I got into the technical aspects and had to rework his board a little bit. We were doing a lot of sound checks. We had a meeting. This is my TGRN partner. Had a meeting with everything. Let me see what we got here. Audio, video connected. All right, that's good. Excellent. So anyway, we had a meeting. Business meeting and stuff, and so it was. This is a pretty productive day, but went a lot longer than what we anticipated, which happens. I mean, it does. It just happens. So anyway, we're back at the place that we're staying at, and you know, trying to recuperate a little bit. Last night I didn't broadcast because we basically went out to my partner's house and he um, barbecued steaks for us and tied a little one on. I had a couple of bourbons, um, and then he opened up a uh, bottle of Crown Royal barley, a barley mix from Crown Royal that he's been wanting to, his wife and him are wanting to try. And they went ahead and opened up the bottle for us. And it was a late night, let's just put it that way. And so this morning got moving slowly, as you normally do, as you would, um, from all of that. So yeah, yeah, exactly. What kind of bourbon? There was it wasn't Kentucky. So sorry, Bonnie. It wasn't a Kentucky bourbon, but I will tell you that it was a Texas style bourbon, 1876, I think was the name of it. And sorry, I'm going to get hopefully my Rumble Studio app up here so I can actually see your your chat's better than what's going on here. So, got to mute that. Mute. Okay, turn. Oh, okay. We'll just do it this way. Testing 1, 2, 3. How about now? We got sound? Hello, we got sound? I hope so. Can somebody tell me if we got sound now? Please? What's this? Yes, okay, we got sound. All right, sorry about that. In my trying to get rid of the app, that's one thing that I have to say about the Rumble app on the phone, on the Android phone. It's a pain in the ass. Once it gets running, you can't really do anything with it until you log out. And when you log out, that kills everything. So yeah, I apologize for that. Someday I'll get this all figured out and we'll have a good remote session. But anyway, so where was I? Let me see. See if I got. I want to get to a point where I can check out the. I want to get. Oh shoot. I want to get to a point where I can watch and see you guys chatting. Let's see if maybe it'll show me. There we go. All right. You guys chatting. Now I need to mute myself. Let's see if maybe it'll show. I need to mute this. Sound off. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'll be able to see the. I'll be able to at least see your guys' chats. So there we go. Turn my screen sideways? What? What's going on? Anyway, all right. So here we go. Yeah, it's kind of weird though. The whole Rumble Studio creator kind of thing is really odd. It's really weird. I'm brand new, trying to get it to work, trying to get things running. For an example, earlier today, I went and I tried out the camera. This is the exact same camera that I use at home, and I tried the camera out on the Rumble Studio app, and it wouldn't come through. And so I was hoping that I was going to try something different for a different setup, and I ended up where now all of a sudden I've got I actually have it working now. So it's working, and you can see, like, for an example. Come on. There you go. You can get really close to me, or I can adjust it a little bit and take it a little farther away. So there you go. That's the pan tilt zoom camera and everything else for everything. So anyway, yeah, everything's going to go back to normal on Tuesday. We got a couple more days here. Tomorrow is the Luckenbach, Texas run. We are TGRN is going to try. We're going to attempt to live broadcast from there. I am planning on attempting to live broadcast from there. Mostly it's going to be, basically what we're going to do is I'm going to do a TGRN takeover. And so what you're going to see, or what you will see, is essentially if it can work, will essentially be a, oops, dang it. If it can work, what you will essentially see is the back end of a live broadcast with TGRN, and I'll try and do add some other content. Now, the concert itself starts at 1 p.m. Central Time, which basically means that it'll be 2 p.m. your time, Eastern Time. And then, so 1 p.m. Central, and then, of course, 11 a.m. for those West Coasters. The concert itself is 4 hours long. Okay, so it starts and there's going to be uh, a couple of different artists, not just Dallas Moore. Although Dallas Moore is the headliner, he's not going to be the only one singing. So there'll be breaks and that kind of stuff. So what I'm planning on doing is on the Rumble channel only. And the reason why I'm doing it only on Rumble is because of the fact that Facebook and YouTube will give me copyright strikes for the music that I play or that is played. So we're going to do it just on Rumble. So if you are watching me right now on X or Facebook or even YouTube, not going to be on it. It will be Rumble only for tomorrow. And so you'll get to see my partner. Hopefully you'll get to see my partner Oogie. You'll get to hear his radio if you haven't seen or heard his radio stuff, but we'll be getting his radio stuff. I'm going to be working, obviously, because I'm the engineer on the audio side. So you'll see me with the board and headphones and things like that. Billy Stoops is supposed to be there during the breaks and things like that. I think the plan is to do maybe some interviews with Dallas Moore, maybe Billy Stoops, possibly the other guy that they have. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. And so we'll be doing all of that. It will hopefully all be live, provided that we can maintain a stable connection. Now we are going to be, my partner does have Starlink. We are going to be using Starlink. This will be kind of a first test to see what the Starlink will actually do for us. And so again, hopefully if everything works out right, guys, you'll be able to tune in to the Lukenbach, Texas launch party, and we'll be doing all kinds of stuff. Buddy, I don't have a guitar. I don't even know how to play a guitar. I would love to learn, and that was something that Mrs. Whiskey and I were talking about on the drive home last night. How I would love to learn, but I can tell you there was a conversation about a guitar. There's a guitar down here that Billy Stoops has been looking at and is interested in. And he drove up to Austin prior to us getting together yesterday, and or down to Austin, I should say, and took a look at it, played with the guitar, and he is seriously he's on the fence as to whether or not he wants to get this guitar or not. It's not like he doesn't already have several guitars at home, because he has a bunch of them. He has a lot of guitars at home, but this one, he picked it up, and kind of like how artists, they have to feel things. Things felt right to him, and so we'll see. We'll see if he's going to get his guitar. I don't think he's going to get it now, but we'll see if he's going to get a guitar or get his guitar. When he gets ready and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be off the hook. They anticipate something around 400 people at this event, which will be fantastic. Fantastic for TGRN, and of course fantastic for hopefully for all of you, because we'll have the stream going. I'll pick up the stream going, and it'll be awesome. So what is it? No, I didn't. I sang on Booze and News, buddy. So Buddy Weiser is asking in the chat whether or not I played a guitar on Booze and News. No, that was Dutt. That was Dutt who played the guitar. I just sang. So, which if you haven't noticed my voice, I did something today during all the mic checks and sound checks and all the things, trying to tune my partner's audio sound to get it just right. and my throat's a little dry and kind of messed up. So I'm I don't know. I might end up hitting some laryngitis or something. that would that would not be good. That would not be good. But anyway. All right. So that's what's going on for tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys could join. Even if you just join for just a little bit of time, it would be nice, provided that everything works out. It's not going to be my usual show. It's going to be focusing mostly on TGRN. It is going to be the TGRN takeover of the American Perspective channel for however long we can keep it going, or even obviously if we can even get it going. So I'm not necessarily expecting you guys to join up, but it'd be kind of nice. Be nice for me to demonstrate to my partner that, hey, video streaming does have something. So Bonnie, I think Bonnie's in the chat, isn't she? So cedar allergies. Hi Ms. T. Is Bonnie in the chat? Bonnie up here? I thought I saw her. Maybe not. Well, I got a bit of no, I guess not. I don't see her in there. So anyway, if you recall my last conversation with you guys, we were talking about my potentially having a show on the new channel. That conversation has moved a little bit farther along. We're strategizing on things for it. And I think that there is we'll call it a 70-30, 70% likelihood of it potentially happening. And so right now I'm gonna say it's like a 70-30 split. There's still a couple of bits and pieces and details to figure out, but there is a good, like I said, a good possibility that I will be debuting a musical focused show on TGRN, on Dallas Moore's Outlaw Radio. So obviously, when we get closer to launching and stuff like that, I'll let you know. But yeah, that is a conversation that we had today. My partner is really looking for me to basically get something going, because obviously he wants to fill our station with shows, and so that is a possibility. He is anxiously awaiting for me to get that going, and so more announcements toward that again as we get potentially closer to that kind of a launch. Trying to think of what else has been going on for this. I mean, obviously, Dallas Moore likes what we're doing, likes what we've got going on, and so yeah, we'll see. Buddy, Junior Brown is entirely possible. I mean, right now things are kind of wide open at this point. So yeah, there is definitely a possibility. I mean, I would obviously have control of the programming for my show. So within some reason. So yeah, so there is a possibility of all that. I also too, if I were to do something, I'm a bit more old school, not saying that I would necessarily do this all the time, but you would hear some mixture of some older stars like Neil McCoy. We're already playing things from from the 80s and even some in the 70s, but things like I grew up at times listening to Jerry Reed and Red Sylvine and Phantom 309 and Teddy Bear from Red Sylvine. Those are like two of my favorite old school country songs. And so there would be a mix or an infusion of that, plus some of the more newer outlaw kind of artists. And that's part of the reason why it's named outlaw radio rather than outlaw country, because it can also do, outlaw can be across a bunch of different genres. And there's, Southern rock and things of that nature that are all part of it. Yes, Johnny Cash. There's, we're already playing some Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash, and I've been hearing some other stuff that's there. Plus, as the library builds for Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio, as the library of songs builds, you're going to hear more and more of a variety. For me, Tanya Tucker, Patsy Cline, Nancy Sinatra has a couple songs that were in there. Um, you know, uh, and even somebody a little obscure only released one or two songs like Vicki Lawrence, who Reba McEntire redid and recovered the night the lights went out in Georgia, as an example. And so all of those artists and stuff, I think, are going to be brought into the station as time goes on, and as we expand our library of songs. Those are kinds of the things that we're going to be looking for. But as of right now, the station itself is doing quite well in our launch. From a technology perspective, it hasn't had any issues. We've got our sound. We're sounding really good, and from a Dallas Moore perspective, he is pushing it. He really enjoys. He used to be a DJ. For those of you that don't know, he used to be a DJ, and does have his own show, of course, on his own signature channel called Dallas Moore's Happy Hour, and that airs Tuesday nights or Tuesday during the day and at night, and you can tune in on that. And you can listen to Dallas Moore on that. Billy Stoops is going to have a lot of his songs also on the station. And Billy Stoops actually lives in Tacoma, Washington, near me, which is kind of cool. But he's a Kentucky boy as well, born and bred. So it was kind of funny to listen to the two of them talk a little bit. But anyway, so that's kind of the plan. That's the eventual move forward at this moment and at this point. And so we're really excited about it. The TGRN crew is really excited. You guys, I don't know if you checked out the TGRN, the picture that I put up of us out of Green Hall on my socials, and it's on TGRN socials too. So yeah, so it's awesome. Batteries included in what? Oh yeah, 38 Special is one of my faves. My news says for crossover country, blues, and rock. Well, that's the blend right there. I mean, that's the blend that we're looking to kind of bring to the station. There's going to be, there will be some blues mixed in, because I mean, let's face it, country, rock, and blues, they all kind of spawned from the same type of genre. They're it's Americana kind of music, and so that is potentially going to be definitely a possibility across the board for all of it. Like I said, Southern rock. I mean, Leonard Skinner is just the first one that comes to mind when you think of Southern rock, and so it's going to be, as far as that goes, it's going to be off the hook. As far for that. Sorry. I'm looking at the wall because I see something in the. Oh, that's my error. I thought I saw something on the wall that was kind of weird behind me, but anyway. Okay, so I know I'm out of touch with some of the politics stuff that's going on, but I thought that I might be able to grab a couple of articles here before we break for the evening, and kind of talk a little bit about what's going on here So first of all, let's talk about deportation. Let me see if I can. Let me see here. Let's see if I can do this. Let's put it over there. And let's see if I can screen share. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, here we go. You guys actually are kind of getting a back end look in stuff. But so apparently, there's a judge. So you remember the Colombia protester, Mahmoud Kali? He was on, Columbia University, and he was on Columbia University's campus, and he was uh, definitely, definitely. How do I say this? Promoting Hamas and promoting Palestinian-based terror organizations, and oh, did I die? I hope I didn't die. Wait a minute. Am I still here, guys? I think so. Yeah, okay. We're still here. I just saw Buddy is leaving. So everybody else okay? All right. So anyway, as I was saying, the judge has finally ruled that the Columbia protester can go. Um, okay. I'm hoping Nana that's saying yes to my being still live. So yeah. So this Columbia protester has apparently been a bad boy and is now taking off. They're going to probably send him back, which that'll be good. He can be deported. That's actually a good thing. So that is a very good thing um, for that. I mean, if you're coming here for an education and you're sitting there promoting all the stuff that he was, yeah. So yeah, so there you go. Good news. That's good news coming out of that for sure. So let me go and take another look here and see what other what do we have in some of the other places that we got going on. Just really quick before we break for the night. Oh, I guess Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, complete moron. I don't understand how anybody can really be paying attention to this guy. I mean, he's a censured liar. He lied to his own people, meaning other politicians. But apparently, he was. Let's see, what did he do here? He got asked a question by Kristen Welker, so he must have been on Kristen Welker's show, and he got directly asked a question about new claims that have been published in a book that is essentially alleging that former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain is, excuse me, Ron Klain is alleging that that many people, I guess, or some people, were alarmed by Biden's decline and his behavior during debate preparations. Well, she asked him directly, and said, do you think that former President Biden's advisors misled the American people about Biden's capacities? And Schiff, like usual, Schiff didn't answer the question. He deflected. So, yeah, this. He says, it's hard for me to gauge what the closest advisors to the president were seeing at the time. He says, I can only speak to the interactions that I've had with him, which were, in the months leading up to his getting out of the race, largely ceremonial occasions. But, I will say this. He made the decision to get out of the race, and I think it was the right decision. So take that for what you think it is as far as that goes. I mean, again, Shifty Schiff. Shifty Schiff, the moron senator who used to be a lying House representative. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. What else have we got here? Let's try and just take a look. Oh, yeah. So let's see if this is in regards to So obviously the left is still, or the protests that they had, the left is still thinking that federal government control is utopia, and that somebody's feelings need to trump, pardon the pun, trump things like freedom, personal responsibility, all of those kinds of things. And yet, here they are. Well, they keep pushing this ideal America where they think that, having more regulation, more government, making it so that the government itself is paying the people. What they neglect to realize is that the government can't give you something that it doesn't have. It can't give you something without taking that same thing away from somebody else. So, for an example, money, they seem to think that the money just magically appears, that the value of the dollar is based off of just the dollar itself, and it's not. It's based off of the value that people place on it. But the biggest key out of all this is that they just seem to think that if government prints more money, there's more money to be had. Meaning that if government were to print $1 million for every single person in America, every single person would have $1 million, and they'd be rich. Well, that's not the way it works. I mean, yes, you literally would have $1 million, but that $1 million wouldn't be worth what people think the $1 million actually is, because it would take more dollars to buy the goods and services that you would use that money for. And so, that's what that literally is what inflation is. You have way too many dollars chasing too few goods. And so the whole idea that government can just magically print money and it will retain its value is completely off the charts, incorrect anymore, because of the fact that, of course, we're no longer part of the gold standard. And I've talked about this before to you guys. But that's what these people do. And speaking of people who are a little out there and asinine and so on and so forth, I got into a conversation with a individual on X about, obviously, January 6th. And this individual, this account, I think it's a she, it could be a guy, I don't know. The name of the account was a little weird, so who knows. But anyway, this individual kept harping on the fact that, of course, January 6th was an insurrection. And I pointed out to them that no, it wasn't. It wasn't even close. The BLM riots were obviously worse, so on and so forth. And this individual finally got to a point where they said, well, why are you even responding to me? And of course, I had to politely point out, well, you're the one that responded to me. I was posting in response to somebody else, and you decided to jump on my chain. And of course, they denied that. So these people are delusional. They're out there. They just have no idea, honestly, what's going on, and they just want a certain narrative to be. They want a certain narrative to be true, and they want things that are not reality to be true. And it's not going to happen. They can argue, they can beg, they can plead, they can do all kinds of things, but it's not going to happen. You cannot alter reality. You may be able to avoid it. You might be able to, you know, think that it's not occurring, but you definitely are not going to be able to alter reality. And that's essentially where these people are at. Is they honestly have no clue, and of course they're a little broken. I'll admit, mainly just because of the fact that Donald Trump has done such a fantastic job in his first 100 days. We saw that the tariffs, or however many days he's been in, but we saw the tariffs get postponed for a little bit of time, I believe. And so, the market obviously rebounded off of that. We'll have to kind of see what happens with that whole situation. We've talked about that before, as far as that goes. And so we'll have to kind of see what that brings about. But yeah, a couple of the people in this article, they were talking about, so one protester, who, by the way, was masked, according to this piece is in the Populous Times, just to give credit where credit is due. He was holding up a sign with a scientific symbol for a resistor and said, "For me, an ideal America is one where people can protest like this and have their voices heard, and they are the ones who are running the country, not somebody who's taken over the country and no longer allows the First Amendment to be spoken." Okay, so Trump is in charge right now, and yeah, this guy is speaking right now, and so really, First Amendment is gone. I mean, you're using it. You're sitting there using it. You're talking to somebody. Just, again, the thought process of these people. Another demonstrator, another gentleman, according to the piece here, said that an ideal nation includes the ability to speak freely without fear. I don't think they realize what fear actually is. I don't think they understand. I'm fairly certain that they don't understand the amount of freedoms that we have in this country and the things that we can do and say that other countries you would basically be thrown in jail for. And even Europe is starting to change toward that. I mean, right now, if you post something online, as an example, that is negative toward somebody else and you're caught, you're actually taken to jail. You're actually taken to jail for it. And so they sit there and they think, these people seem to think that we're turning into a communist country just because Trump is in charge. Trump has actually released the bonds that we've been living under the last 4 years. He's actually demonstrating that that the country itself is now a freer country than what it has been under Joe Biden and the Democrats' rules. So, Trump isn't the one that's trying to convince Facebook to take your post down because you state something that is, in not in agreement with the government or the status quo. And so these people are just they're lost. They don't seem to understand this. Looks like the chat's going off about or going and talking about the ID. Now, that's another thing that occurred. The SAVE Act was passed by the House here in the last couple of days. And the interesting thing about this is the conversations online have consistently been, well, what happens, or not what happens, but the leftists are trying to fearmonger. They're trying to say that, oh, well, now it's required that you have a birth certificate with your proper name on it. And that women, for an example, who haven't updated their birth certificate, they have a marriage certificate with their new name, but they haven't updated their birth certificate, they're now automatically disenfranchised. Well, what these people fail to realize, and what they haven't done, is they haven't actually read the text of the bill that got passed. There are several ways and exceptions built into the SAVE Act to ensure that everyone, regardless of whether or not they have a birth certificate, there are ways to validate who you are. There are multiple um, uh, identification pieces that can be used in order to demonstrate that, hey, you know what, my birth certificate itself doesn't have my proper last name on it. However, I have a passport, I have, maybe I have a Real ID, which would be a driver's license that falls under the Real ID Act that is coming and is going to get implemented here within the next couple of months. I think it's in May when it'll be implemented, which is something that Mrs. Whiskey and I were talking about because we happen to be traveling. So, having that Real ID, I have an enhanced Washington driver's license. And so having that Real ID and some other form of identification can negate the idea that your birth certificate doesn't have your proper name on it. And yet the left, it seems to keep wanting to fearmonger about this whole thing and try and make it again. AOC, I saw at one point was saying that something about she was going to sue the government over it. I don't know why, but anyway, she was going off, and I could be wrong about the lawsuit, but she was going off about the fact that the government that the House of Representatives did this, and she was just livid over the whole thing because, again, they need those illegal votes. They need those illegals to vote in order to keep in power. If they lose that voting block, as you noticed with the last election that we had, where the minority vote has broken and gone for yeah, getting ID. My chat is saying getting ID is not difficult if you are a citizen. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And they have, believe me, they have multiple provisions in the SAVE Act with regards to the ID and how to what you need to utilize in order to gain your voter ID. So yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions about that act, and again, if you read through the different paragraphs, there was a gentleman on the social media that was trying to educate these folks, and unfortunately, when you run across somebody who is just that intellectually lost, they unfortunately are not going to react to or recognize the olive branch that you are putting in front of their face for all of this. And so, all these people were like, oh my gosh, I'm no longer allowed to vote. And, this individual is like, no, per page such and such, paragraph such and such, this says whatever, X, Y, Z, etc. And was pointing all of their fallacies out based off of the actual text of the law. And I love seeing those kinds of I love seeing those kinds of discussions back and forth with regards to all of that. So the SAVE Act itself, I mean, it changed a little bit, I think, from the original version that we saw maybe a year ago, under the Biden administration's rule. But the reality of it is that we it's passed the House. I don't know if it's hit the Senate yet. Although speaking of that, the Senate did pass that resolution, the funding resolution, and the House just passed and agreed to it. So now um, the budget the budget reconciliation bill, I think, is now going to go to the desk of Donald Trump, and he's going to sign it. So that's going to be that'll be fairly cool. That'll be fairly cool when that happens. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Well, yeah, we're coming up to an hour, so that's pretty cool. I obviously can drone on about a lot of things. Let's see. What else do we have? Of course, I see this article. I don't know what the heck, where this came from, but let's see what this is all about. But the headline is Dems claim regret, or a Dem claims regret for voting for the Laken Riley Act. I don't know why anybody could. Oh, this is in the Daily Wire. Here, let me show you. Let's do a screen share. Why would anybody want to vote against or want to vote against this? I just don't know. But anyway, this Democrat. Let's see who this is. I'm going to take a guess. Democratic Congresswoman said she regretted voting for the Laken Riley Act, adding that immigrants across this country who are here legally and have followed the law are being terrorized. Really? The Laken Riley Act, as you recall, according to the piece here in the Daily Wire, requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain illegal immigrants who have been arrested for burglary, theft, larceny, and shoplifting. In other words, criminals, people who have broken our law. Well, they're already here illegally, so they've kind of broken the law. Never mind. So anyway, it authorizes states to sue the federal government for decisions or alleged failures in relation to immigration enforcement. The legislation obviously was named after Laken Riley, who was a 22-year-old Georgia nursing student murdered in February of 2024 by a 26-year-old Venezuelan illegal alien. We always switch immigrant with alien because, anyway, while she was jogging. So the individual in question, the representative in question here, you can see, is Representative Jonna Haynes from, where do you think? Oh, yes, Connecticut. Yeah, she responded to a question that was posed by a member of the audience at some event that she was at, that was initially directed by Representative Derek Tran from California, who said that he was concerned about the Laken Riley Act. And he said, begs the question of whether or not due process still exists in America. Due process only exists, by the way, for those who are smart, it only exists for American citizens, realistically. I mean, that's due process rights have to deal with the Constitution. The Constitution is the law of the land, and we do extend due process rights to just about anybody because that's our belief. But in the reality of the situation, even coming up through history, the other people in this country who were not treated the same way, for an example, the Native Americans who were here or any other foreigners that had come here, they were not subjected to or requested to be subjected to the United States Constitution, which is where the whole idea of due process has been enumerated. So anyway, so yeah, it's I don't understand. I really don't understand where these people come from with some of these things. Yeah. So now, Tran apparently was essentially made the comment that the Laken Riley Act made sense, and that when you commit a crime, you should be deported. Well, that's pretty much what any red-blooded, red, white, and blue blooded American you could ask for. Just the mere fact that you're here illegally, of course, is, a deport. If you're caught at the border, you're deported immediately. So I don't know. I don't understand the people who seem to believe that just because they've been released into the country, that is necessary, or they're positioned, if they're caught further inland, that position changes. The law is the law. The law basically says if you are here illegally, you will be deported. And that's the way it should be. But for whatever reason, these people seem to want to, they seem to want to like keep these folks around, even though many of them are definitely off the chart, off kilter with things. But anyway, all right. Let's see what else. What else might we have in this? Let's see. It looks like Trump is still calling on Russia to create a peace deal. No surprises there. Highly doubt that Putin is quite ready to sit down at the table. He feels like he's got an upper hand with the entire situation. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what's going on with that. So, all right. Well, apologize for the non-preparation, but of course, like I said, we were driving back from Austin. So, but I do appreciate, I wanted to get that information out to you with regards to tomorrow. Hopefully you guys again can join, provided that we have it. It looks like this particular stream has been stable the way that I did this. So I have a feeling that I'm probably going to mimic this for tomorrow. I'd like to possibly try a second camera, because what I would love to do is have one camera focused on the team at the table and the other camera maybe focused out on the crowd. And so you guys can get a feel for what that looks like. But I'll have to, we're going to obviously play it by ear. That's just the way things roll around here. Adapt and overcome, I think, is one of the Marine Corps' favorite sayings. So anyway, all right, let's see if I have any, just because of campaigns. Let me see what I may have available. All right, well, this is definitely something to talk about. Let's go ahead and just do a couple of these, or one of these, because this is all that I have available outside of what I've already told you with TGRN. Let's do another sponsor. This sponsor is 1775coffee.com. And I got to tell you, after last night's sitting around the table and drinking bourbon, I wasn't feeling the best in the morning. Kind of happens, especially when you imbibe too much. But what definitely helps is coffee. Now, when we were driving around, we were, obviously we're in a strange place. I went and put in, using my mobile device and doing Google Maps, and I put in a coffee stand, and it turned out it was a coffee trailer that was actually closed. Thankfully, Mrs. Whiskey is a lot smarter than I am, and she went ahead and was able to grab another coffee. But you know what? If you use 1775 coffee, you won't have that problem, because you'll already have it in your house and ready to go in your cup. So wheat coffee, of course, is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never, ever been a part of the mission. No fillers, no fraud, and of course, no settling for mediocrity, just like 1775 coffee. It's single origin, small farm, hand-picked, specialty grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale mass-produced beans roasted just enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast, their dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast, of course, keeps it bold without all the bitterness. And the Vitality Mushroom Blend gives you real energy and lasting focus. No synthetic garbage. For K-Cup pods, whole beans, and fresh ground, go to 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com. And those are the numbers, 1775coffee.com. And use promo code STUDIO in order to get your coffee. Let's see if I can get this to go down. Here we go. For 15% off, and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. Once again, go to 1775coffee.com. Use promo code STUDIO to get 15% off your order of K-Cup pods, whole and ground, whole beans or fresh ground coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com and use promo code STUDIO for 15% off. Start your morning with coffee that actually stands for something. And by the way, if you do that, every dollar that you spend enters you to potentially win a Cybertruck and $30,000 in cash if you decide and desire to do so. So there you go. Thank you, 1775 Coffee. Do appreciate it. All righty, folks. I think that is going to be the end of tonight's show. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's answer a couple of these. So I think he said 2 p.m. Eastern. It is 2 p.m. Eastern for the concert and the Whiskey Live. So like I said, I'm gonna do a couple of tests to verify everything. We're actually showing up a little early to get all set up and the technology and everything set up technologically wise. So the concert itself is 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, and just to screw with everybody's brains, 11 a.m. On the West Coast. And so if you can join us, that is likely going to be the time that we go live. But definitely, keep your ear to the ground. We're going to kind of see how things go. And like I said, this is going to be one of those things where it's just going to be interesting. So now let's see. Let me unpin this because for some reason that got pinned. But anyway, so Ms. T Tex already asked, and so again. We are planning on doing a live stream. The audio of the concert is probably not necessarily going to be sent over the TGRN broadcast. Depending upon how successful we are, I might be able to do the live audio, but we'll just have to play it by ear. So that's the plan. That's the plan. So anyway, I don't know what there's a Coco Dominki just put in like a pause button. I don't know why. Anyway, at least it looks like a pause button to me. So like I said, folks, I appreciate you coming out. I apologize for the late start time, but hey, many of you still showed up, so I do appreciate that. Hopefully we will see you tomorrow. And if not, don't forget, I'm flying back on Monday. So the actual show back in the studio, the first show back, is going to be on Tuesday. So we will hopefully see you tomorrow and have a great rest of your weekend. If we don't happen to see you tomorrow, again, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we will see you Tuesday back in the studio for sure. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.